Welcome to NYC Jewelry Week 2022. We're the co-founders. I'm JB Jones.
And I'm Bella Neiman.
And we're really excited to welcome you to our 2022 virtual program here on our official YouTube page. And please head to our website at nycjewelryweek.com to check out all our other amazing programs, the stuff we're doing virtually, the stuff we're doing in person, and the stuff we're doing on Instagram. And speaking of Instagram, we do a series there every year focused on a different topic. It's a set of interviews with journalists, editors, collectors, jewelers, artists, people like Bella, sharing their stories on a topic of our choosing. And this year's topic is obsession. We have a great program coming up next year with Mazzi Odu and Helena of Helena Gems. And they had so much to say on the topic of obsession. We moved the program from Instagram here to our official YouTube page.
I really can't wait. I'm really excited to hear what they both have to say. And so I guess we should just let them get to it. And if you have any questions for Helena or for Mazzi, please feel free to leave it in the chat and we will make sure that they get them. And don't forget to check out the rest of the Obsession Talks on Instagram. Enjoy.
Helena, it's such a pleasure to have you here for NYC Jewelry Week and for us to be having an opportunity to speak about the wonderful world of high jewelry. How are you today?
Mazzi, thank you so much for having me here. It's a huge pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to share what we've prepared for our audience. And yes, I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So we obviously, anyone who's already listened has heard the brief intro about yourself and what you've done. So I will spare everyone a recap, but I'd like just to start at the beginning. So when did you first fall in love with jewelry, and how did you end up in the rarefied world of high jewelry retail?
Well, I have this brief memory of myself when I'm 5 years old and I'm destroying necklaces of my mom.
Oh, wow.
And I think that was the big aha moment for me and that time. And for a long while, I wanted to become a goldsmith, but I ended up I studied design instead. And actually only after moving to Paris and starting working with Dior in ready-to-wear department, when I had wonderful clients with wonderful taste and quite important budgets, I started moving into the high jewelry sales and jewelry world. And this is how it started, actually, because seeing the interest of my clients in this universe, it was so inspiring and it was appreciated and shared. And then I had this idea of learning how to craft jewelry myself. And I started attending Haute École de Joaillerie, which at the time was called École de Louvre. And I learned jewelry craft. But what turned out I was much better in selling jewelry than in making jewelry. But in any case, it helped enormously in my profession, because as I knew how it works behind the scenes, how many hours, how much work, how much talent, how much imagination, how much uniqueness is involved, is necessary to one jewel to become a jewel. I think thanks to this knowledge, I could convey the whole excitement about this, and it really helped me to share it with my clients. So when I moved to London, I was offered a position with Boucheron, first of all, in Harrods, and then I worked in Chanel high jewelry flagship at New Bond Street, and after that in the flagship of Bulgari, and I closed the circle somehow, because when moving back to France, to French Riviera. I was offered a position of jewelry department manager and client development in Dior Cannes. So
Wow.
once again, Dior. So this is my journey, quite long journey in few words, and it's been a very exciting journey. Right now, I'm working as an independent consultant, and I'm continuing my my path. Yes.
Amazing. And it's so interesting because, the four houses you mentioned are, four of the big ones, obviously, when people sort of come to think of high jewelry. And it's really interesting because obviously two are, and known specifically for jewelry, whereas two have an overlap with also apparel,
Yes.
which I'm sure we will go into as we go further into the presentation.
Yes.
But,
Definitely.
before we even start, I just, obviously people have perceptions of what kind of person actually wears jewelry, and I think and buys high jewelry. And I think it's really interesting in your selection that you're giving us. So we're going to see all of these houses via your favorite or pieces that have meant the most to you, have had the biggest impact to you. But within that, we'll have these discourses. But if we can start with some of those misconceptions people have about, your typical high jewelry client, and what they're like and how they wear their pieces.
There are quite a few, I think, that the ones I stumbled upon in comments of, I don't know, my acquaintances or my friends or people around me. So a very common one is that women need men to buy high jewelry. And it's not the case every time, because plenty of my clients are women, and they buy their high jewelry pieces themselves. They choose them themselves, and
I think safer, because at least you'll get what you want. I mean, you could throw a hint and a very expensive mistake could happen. So.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, women who buy high jewelry with their partners, of course, I think they have their reasons as well. So that's why I won't say, gentlemen, we don't need you, because actually my husband is watching it, so I can't
so
say
is mine.
that.
So we can definitely make that into an announcement. Gentlemen, we do need you.
Yes. But it's true that many of high jewelry clients are women, and they decide themselves what they get. So this is quite interesting, and this is quite pleasant to see as well, that it's not only one type of woman who's interested in high jewelry. There is also another misconception, I would say, that client who enter a high jewelry boutique, they are very flamboyant, and they drip in diamonds, and they're wearing, I don't know, expensive furs and
exactly
purses,
and livery chauffeur, the whole bit.
Yes, exactly. It is true for some, it is, but actually many of clients are very discreet, are very private. They don't want to be mentioned. They don't want to be talked about. Often these kind of sales happen in a salon, so it's closed behind closed door. Some of them buy for investment, some of them buy for pleasure, but they don't want that kind of publicity, and they prefer to stay incognito. So this is another misconception, I would say. And I don't know, the third one I'm thinking of is that the jewelry professionals are quite how would I call it, uptight and
snooty.
Yes,
snooty, and
exactly.
if you can't pronounce the words correctly, or if you don't
Yes.
speak French, they're like, get out, we don't want to talk to you.
Yes, it's wrong. Well, it's wrong, totally wrong. I mean, maybe some of them are like that, which personally I luckily never met, but most of my colleagues are wonderful people, very open and very warm, and it's very, very pleasant to be around them. So yes, I would say that as well. Yeah.
Amazing. So shall we, without further ado, dive into the Helena Blanchet collection?
With pleasure. So let me start.
Yay.
Let me start the show. So if I may start talking about Boucheron, because I consider it as the first high jewelry step in my journey. And as you asked me to choose 3 pieces of each brand,
Yes,
which was very
I
cool.
did.
Very,
I know it's a
very
bit cruel, but it was only because of time constraints. Otherwise,
I know, yes,
people would like
but
binge watch.
otherwise we would never end up this conversation. But then,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
So as I had to choose 3 pieces, I chose the beautiful, beautiful necklace, high jewelry necklace of Boucheron's from collection Contemplation, as it's a French brand. So just to very, very shortly to lay the foundation for what happens next. Boucheron is a French maison who was established by Frédéric Boucheron quite early. He's actually the maison is the first one. He was the first one who located his boutique, his store in Place Vendome. So he's the
So
first
he's the
jeweler.
pioneer.
Absolutely, he was the very first one who decided to open the store over there. And the maison was established in 1858, and it's known for being as much innovative as possible. So let's move and see the Boucheron Fenêtre sur Ciel necklace. The Fenêtre sur Ciel necklace, it's called like this because it's inspired by James Turrell Open Sky art. The collection is inspired by skies, materials used in exploration of space. And we are looking at a very, very beautiful piece, a piece that it's like a scarf, basically, and it's very pleasant to touch, very pleasant to wear because it's very fluid, it's very flexible, it's made of titanium. There is a very beautiful tanzanite set as a clasp, 35 carats of emerald cut tanzanite. We can see mother of pearl, pave diamonds that are tiny, tiny hexagons of mother of pearl and diamonds which are overlaid with 30 layers, microscopic layers of lacquer, slate color lacquer, which has been airbrushed all over them. And it's absolutely magnetic. I think it's just absolutely stunning piece. There is a clin d'oeil, which we call in French, so a little reference to Mr. Boucheron's past as well, because he was a son of drapers. His parents were drapers.
Wow! So it almost looks like
yes,
curtain holders.
Exactly. Yes.
No, exactly. The ringbacks, the pullbacks. Yes. So it's really interesting. But what's also really interesting is how they've chosen to style it, because speaking to what you were saying about a lot of high jewelry collectors being quite low key, people always think that, my exquisite pieces stay in a vault and I wear them to a gala. But this piece, because of its lightness and its tactility, you can just rock with a t-shirt and go.
Absolutely, as we can see in here. So it's light, it's versatile, it's easy to wear. And also what's very interesting, because if we think Boucheron, we think also Serpentive Bohème, for example, which is one of their collections. When we watch closely, these little pavés, these little hexagons, look like scales of a snake. So it's another clin d'oeil, it's another reference to the other collection, to the DNA of the brand.
So clever, so clever. Wow. Really beautiful. Really, really
So
beautiful.
when we're looking at the drawing, the painting eventually achieved on the piece, it's like a stormy sky filled with clouds, and this is also very interesting, and it makes us think of freedom, of skies, of space, and to project ourselves as well.
No, it's so interesting because, again, pointing to innovation, which obviously we'll see more of, because Boucheron's definitely known for pushing the envelope and stuff.
Yes, Claire Schwann is a pure genius, and we'll see some more of it later on. So let's move to the next piece, if you don't mind. And these are the Boucheron Ailleurs earrings. So Ailleurs, somewhere else or elsewhere in English. The collection was created in 2022, so it's the latest collection. And it talks about 5 themes. And I've chosen earrings because I'm thinking that they haven't been given a proper credit probably in press, and they haven't been seen enough.
I know the rattan necklace sort of stole the show.
And
I think it's
all a shame.
And it's the obvious Instagrammable piece, because obviously people are very intrigued by any sort of rule breaking in terms of materialism.
Yes.
There is said rattan necklace, in case those watching don't know what we're talking about.
Yes, I'm not sure why the video doesn't play, but there is a video of the earrings in here, and I was actually hoping it would play, but let me describe them very quickly. So the inspiration of the collection itself, so the collection Ailleurs, is mixing and confronting seemingly contradictory materials. The only rule is to reveal the beauty and poetry of nature. And we're looking at beautiful set of earrings that are created from natural shelf, fusinous colors. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it well. Mother of pearl, diamonds, and white gold. And the theme for those earrings, the chosen theme, and the necklace as follows, is femme sable, so sand woman. And in that particular theme, Boucheron used, of course, very unexpected materials as shells and the rattan in the necklace, and the colors are very warm, very discreet. The palette of beige, sand, blondes, they're illuminated by sunlight. They're warm. The warm wind sculpts the silhouette of the dunes. So it's like an invitation to a dream, like desert, harmonious curves, home to extraordinary animals. So once again, the surprising association of shelf and diamond, so hardness and softness at the same time, which is quite surprising and very innovative once again.
Yes, and I think also, again, it's about changing perceptions, because I think people always think of, when they think of high jewelry, they always think of, it has to be set in a precious metal, and even within the gemstone quandary. And this, by even the name elsewhere, it's sort of trying to take a more expansive approach and take you elsewhere in terms of your high jewelry choices. So I think this will be a collection I think is spoken about for many years to come. And
definitely,
they'll probably even write books about it, because it was
very innovative approach. Absolutely spectacular. Now there is a beautiful jewelry piece I couldn't miss talking about, because this is something unbelievable. So the name of the collection, which was created in 2018, is Nature Triomphante, so the triumph of nature, translated loosely. But the piece I would like to talk about in particular is this ring, which is part of 9 rings that create a collection Fleurs Éternelles, so eternal flowers. This particular ring, we can see in here,
Yes,
is
extraordinary.
called Anemone Marron Bordeaux. So this is the name of the ring, and the inspiration for the collection was the tribute to nature once again, so rich, so free, so ideal, and the ring was to give eternal life to the ephemeral beauty. And if I tell you now the materials that were used to create that ring, will be quite surprised, because we're looking at nearly 6-carat violet Madagascar sapphire, yellow and blue sapphires in yellow gold. The pistils are set with garnet spessartides. The whole jewel is created with titanium and real flower petals.
Wow.
Real flower petals.
Wow. Wow,
I
wow,
know.
wow.
It's
I mean, how on earth did
unbelievable.
they do that? Or is that sort of top secret?
I
Because you know, if someone zooms in, you can sort of see the
yes,
replication
let's
of the
go far.
variegation on a petal.
Yes,
You know,
so we can see the
you know,
petals
even if, yes,
that actually
to
have
achieve
been
that.
used. So I really tried to find out as much as possible how come it's even possible to create such a jewel. And what I found out, there was incredibly realistic, innovative, sorry, please cut it off. Incredibly realistic, innovating, preserving technique with no chemicals or pigments. It's a very secret technique. Boucheron worked with an artist petalist, and the petals were scanned one by one to capture their volumes at the finest detail. Then each petal has been stabilized without pigments or chemicals once again, and mounted on the flower volume with great care to protect their natural beauty. So
so this is the sort of thing that people also need to take into consideration, I suppose, the jump from fine jewelry to high jewelry, because like with haute couture, I mean, just the hours, and there's an element of a secret, because you know, there's details that only the wearer would be able to see, or you know, as they're sort of turning the ring around. Can you explain that as well, Helena, and share that with the audience?
Well, I think the whole thing is about being surprised and being offered something unique and one of a kind. As long as these conditions are fulfilled, then it's like with a piece of art, you know, it's there are a few of factors that actually are in the game. So the uniqueness, inspiration, talent, the idea, all of this counts enormously when it comes to a high jewelry piece.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a spectacular piece. And there she is again. She'd go with my dress, because I've got a bit of violet. Look at me. It's like
will match just perfectly.
You know, nothing. Oh my goodness. Oh, so we're moving on to the but we're moving on to the House of Chanel. And, this was where you were working in London, as you told us, in the flagship. And so tell us a little bit about your first selection, which, you know, I think is actually my favorite piece in the presentation. I'm so confused. I don't know. I'm so confused.
It's not an easy choice.
Let's not go there. But please, allow you to explain the beautiful Chanel tweed spindle cuff bracelet.
Yes. So this jewel is absolutely incredible. We're looking at something so different, so one of a kind. Once again, the codes of the Chanel's house have been used as inspiration, because Chanel is known for their tweed, for material of fabric that Coco Chanel loved all her life, and she used tweed in her collections because she wanted the fluidity of the fabric to help to free the movement of women.
Yeah,
It was all about
exactly.
femininity, all
It's
about
so
the
amazing.
freedom.
Yes, you know,
Yeah.
from the looser silhouette, the drop waist, she was a real innovator. Yeah,
Absolutely. So she designed clothes in a tweed masculine fabric, and Chanel collaborates with Maison Lesage, which is known
yes,
for their extraordinary tweed, and they do crazy things with their tweeds because they're intertwined, I don't know, little chains,
yes,
pearls, velvet
yeah.
ribbons, lurex, and
It's real
crystals.
métier. Yes,
Yes,
you know.
absolutely. It's a real métier.
Yes.
They are little pieces of art, basically. They're tweeds. So Chanel Studio, High Jewelry Studio, have taken this as an inspiration, and they decided to create this beautiful piece of high jewelry. And this, if we look at the following video, hopefully we can see the movement of the necklace that actually matches the bracelet, and we can see how fluid it is, and it's once again, it's all about the technique, not all, but very much about the technique, specially developed to intertwine yellow gold, platinum, diamonds, pearls and onyx, creating multiple layers that imitate the texture of the fabric.
Yes.
So miniature chains were used, stones of various cuts, and small pearls to create the required volume. And jewelers reportedly gradually collected all the elements into a single haul. So it took months to create such a piece, such a bracelet. And once again,
What's extraordinary is again that rather than, you know, so it's not a ruby, it's a spinel, and I think that's
yes, it's a spinel,
again
indeed.
a very interesting choice, because I think, you know, the most famous spinel in the game is the one the King Edward's crown in
Definitely.
the UK Crown Jewels, and then
Yes.
we have this choice of spinel. And I mean, do
Totally.
you think what do you think would have sort of governed that choice from your perspective, from a design
Well, I
perspective?
think there is always a reason. There are no coincidences. If
yeah, because it seems like
Chanel,
it's got a softer hue to had they
Yes.
gone for Burmese ruby. For
absolutely,
sure.
yes.
Yeah.
And now we're moving to another piece, and this is one of my favorite collections of Chanel as well. And of course, who says Chanel says pearls. There's no one without another.
Exactly.
So
I mean,
this is,
yes.
is condition sine qua non. There is no other option. So Les Perles de Chanel is a beautiful collection that consisted of 87 pieces, 24 sets. It was created in 2014, and we're looking at absolutely magnificent necklace that consists of about 200 cultured pearls. So we're looking at South Sea pearls, Tahitians, and freshwater pearls. Absolutely astonishing quality with beautiful orient, all perfectly round, all huge, between 12 and 50 millimeters of diameter.
Yeah, I was going to say they look very,
Yes.
very large.
Very
And
uniform, absolutely perfect strands. And the clasp is a beautiful clasp as well, because every single detail is important in high jewelry. So gold, of course, set with diamonds. There are also little gold stoppers between the pearls, and they're set with diamonds as well. So a very beautiful, clean, very majestic piece, and very Chanel as well. If I may, I will tell you a little anecdote. Reportedly, Chanel
Yes.
in
Please do. Please
yes,
do.
it's
If it involves pearls, we're here
it
for it.
does,
Tell
it
us.
does, it does. So absolutely. So Chanel, well, first of all, Chanel established her house in 1910, and she did it well, and she broke loads of traditional codes. She was very audacious. But it is to say that reportedly, when dancing Charleston in 1925, she broke a rope of pearls, natural pearls, apparently. She broke it, and then completely undisturbed, with huge amusement, she watched all the gentlemen being in the room on their knees,
Wow.
looking for the gems on the floor, and she was completely, she was very, very calm.
Well,
and very
that is actually true luxury. Actually, first of all, not being so precious when you wear something precious. Because I mean, if you can't enjoy it fully, if you can't get on the dance floor, then really, for what purpose? But also, my goodness, how gallant of the gentleman on, sort of scuffling around, probably
Isn't
trying
it?
to.
Yes. And such a huge indifference from Chanel's side.
I know. Well, maybe she's like, if that was the memory, if I was just meant to throw some shapes and, the pearls sort of slide off and, be found or discovered. But it's also really interesting because pearls, she was also quite a rule breaker in how she wore pearls, because she wore both real and costume oftentimes together, which which was very, very radical sort of approach, because again, of her time, there were all these sort of set rules of how you wore the jewelry and when, and
and she didn't care. She did it on
no diamonds after before 6 p.m, etc.
Yes, exactly. No, I mean, she wore pearls with everything, any time of the day, with any kind of clothing. It could be sport clothing or evening clothing. She didn't care, basically. So
she was ahead of her time.
Absolutely, she enjoyed her pearls, and towards the end of her life, when she lived in Ritz, in her apartment in Ritz, she apparently she kept only a few of beige suits and her pearls, and that's it.
Wow. Well, I mean, if that's the takeaway we all learn from today's, all you need is
keep your pearls, ladies.
Keep your pearls to your dying breath, then that is very key takeaway for those watching.
Yeah.
No, so we're on to your final.
Yes,
Chanel
the
piece.
final Chanel piece. So the final Chanel piece is quite unexpected, and for two reasons. First of all, it's a transformable necklace. The name of the necklace. Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
And it's something that we see a lot, because I suppose in sort of, if you take it a century back, people sort of having tiaras that were convertible, and you could wear them as a necklace. So this is very interesting, her sort of the Chanel take. So I'll let you continue. It's
and another Clandé. It's of course it's perfect in terms of jewel that can be worn in plenty of ways, and ladies can enjoy, wearing it with different kind of outfits and moods, and how exactly how they feel like wearing it. It's a beautiful piece of art, and we are looking at something which is quite special, because the codes of Chanel Maison, which is Comet, Sun and Moon, for first time they meet in one piece. And we're looking at absolutely magnificent oval cut sapphire of 55.55 carats. I love how round it is. The diamonds that have been used and in the necklace, there are two beautiful diamonds of very particular special quality. For those who know, DFL type 2A diamonds, so the diamonds that don't have any nitrogen in them.
Wow.
So it's basically like
Yes. The best. The deep flawless is the best of the best, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we could call them C, we would call them C, but it doesn't really exist. So let's say yes, they are D, but the best. So two type 2A diamonds of quite significant carat weight, white gold pave diamonds. The necklace allows for 10 different combinations, including a short version. So brooches, removable string of diamonds can become a bracelet, so a long necklace, short necklace. Anyway,
so I mean, if you can wear it 10 ways, it almost starts to seem like a justifiable investment.
Absolutely.
Because I think also that's something that people sometimes also who are serious collectors. It is also both the convertibility, the flexibility of the actual piece, but also that idea of it holding its value, because if you can wear it in many ways, it will always be something of interest. But that's stunning.
Absolutely.
And you had something else to the
yes,
date in particular.
A little surprise.
I remember you mentioning this to me.
Yes, a little surprise, because we don't really think of Chanel as a jewelry house, but maybe we should. Because
I think so,
because the collection's name, first of all, and it should give us some heads up, is called 1932. And why? It's because it is inspired by the first collection of Coco Chanel, because Coco Chanel designed a collection of diamonds, and she called it Le Bijou des Diamants. For a little story, a bit of history, in 1932, so in the middle of the Great Depression, Chanel was approached by diamond dealers from Diamond Corporation Limited of London, and she was asked to design a high jewelry collection made of diamonds, and she did. And she presented the collection. Actually, the name collection in high jewelry comes from Chanel, because she was the first one who used it as a name in jewelry. So now when we talk about collections, we need to think of Chanel as the first woman who ever used
yet another pioneering name.
Absolutely.
My goodness.
Yes. So she was so innovative, and she presented this collection on wax mannequins, because she wanted people, when they come over to her apartment on Faubourg Saint-Honoré, to see how these jewels look like. Not only see them on a display, but see them on the wax models who were actually modeling presenting the pieces. So it's very interesting the way she broke once again with the codes of the times. And reportedly, the high jewelry world at the time wasn't very happy with the fact she did what she did. So it created
I think it's also, when you have that, you need a little bit of rule breaking, because it's an innovation that,
of course,
I mean, you get further inspired. And as you said, the notion of convertible jewelry pieces was not new, but what she did is she made it modern. And I think that's something that's, very exciting. And it's what we're seeing even with, the Boucheron collection you earlier shared with us, with the Ailleurs, making something modern, especially if you're a heritage house. How do you keep it fresh for new clients, and even for your existing ones? So this is really spectacular piece, and I thought, So we have now concluded in Chanel. Oh my goodness! Feels like a whistle-stop tour, and we are heading across the border to Italy, aren't we?
Yes, and we are going to have fun, because
as one would if we were actually in Italy, and was sort of in the streets of Roma,
in the
the home
streets
of
of Roma,
Bulgari.
and yes, in the streets of Roma, and
Yeah,
Dolce Vita, and joy of life,
exactly,
and
exactly.
celebration, happiness, colors,
Mm,
parties. So Bulgari Festa collection and Paloncini necklace that is a part of this collection was created in 2017. The inspiration is quite obvious. We're looking at very beautiful,
cool.
happy piece,
Exactly.
and it's
It's sort
very
of
much
children's party, the high jewelry
yes,
edition with
yes. So
balloons.
balloons and
Love it.
ribbons made of precious
Lovely.
materials. So we are looking at gemstone cabochons, aquamarines, amethysts, emeralds, pink tourmalines, round diamonds, pavescent diamonds in pink gold. And it's very easily recognizable. Why? Because of the fact that the cabochons have been
Mm,
used as a
that's the real
part of it.
Bulgari.
Yes,
Real
so
Bulgari,
yes, it's a
house
real
code.
Bulgari. Yeah,
Yeah.
so just to mention very quickly, so Bulgari was established in 1884 in Rome by a Greek Soterios Bulgaris, and it has been known since as a marvelous house who would use cabochons, beautiful, very rich, vibrant colors, gemstones, and for other codes that we will speak a little bit later as well. But
Yeah,
this
no,
is a very, very beautiful,
really beautiful.
happy
And
necklace.
it totally is. You can't help but smile when you look at it because it's
Yeah,
that kind
totally.
of,
It's
and it,
yes, it's a very beautiful piece. And also, as we are thinking of high jewelry as a serious business, let's say, so something quite impressive and something that is very serious. It's good to have this look at it as something enjoyable and fun and happy, because yes, it is. It has this kind of aspect as well. So it's
no,
quite
definitely,
interesting.
definitely.
Yeah.
I know, and the sort of the playfulness continues in your
Yes. I'm
next
very bad with
piece.
moving those slides. I think I am going too much forward. Okay, so the next one, the Tubogas Choo bangle, the Bulgari high jewelry
Yes,
piece, is a
the
part of the same
kind
collection. Yes,
of the Festa
the
collection.
Festa collection. Yes.
I see.
So
Okay.
it's absolutely adorable, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I couldn't not to mention it because it's such a nice, such a beautiful, beautifully crafted piece, but also very unusual and very well, it's just so attractive. I think there is
Yeah.
something very special about us, and I think it's very it must feel very good wearing it
On in the wearing, because
on.
I think that's
Yeah,
the thing, because people think about the tuba gas, and obviously everyone sort of nowadays, sort of the Serpenti bracelet, which
yeah,
again is also Bulgari. But what's also interesting is that though they weren't necessarily the first in Italy, I think that honor goes to another jewelry house.
yes,
But they
yes, of
really,
course.
of Tessitore, but they really took it up a notch and
They
took it
did.
to another level. And I think that's, again, showing sort of that sort of innovation because of, the tuba gas makes it more comfortable. If you are someone who's got a, I don't know, chunkier wrist, this is definitely the style for you.
Of course, definitely.
And
Well,
also
any
I
kind of
love
rest, I would say.
exactly. And actually, yeah, to be fair, I'm just sort of, I'm helping people out with excuses to
Yes,
why they
any
need to,
excuse is good enough.
abandon fine jewelry and just go large or go home. But also what's
Yeah,
really interesting as well is the idea of the playfulness. You have the emeralds, and then of course you have the ruby windows as well. So it's really, really pretty. And
yeah, totally.
yeah.
It's absolutely surprising when we look at it, and we would never expect a piece like that in a high jewelry collection, I think.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's inspired by toys of a childhood, playful times, it's very remarkable. I really, really like it. Yeah. And we're moving on to Bulgari Magnifica collection, and the beautiful necklace, emerald ellipse necklace.
Now this does look more conventional Bulgari. I think for those who, that's sort of what they would envisage for sure. You know.
Yes, totally.
All the house codes are present and correct, but I'll allow you to explain a little bit more.
Yes, it's definitely a piece that we are thinking of when we are thinking of Bulgari. So Bulgari equals beautiful, huge gemstones, color gemstones in general, volumes, opulence, beauty, of course, exquisite craftsmanship. So this necklace, I mean, I couldn't ignore this necklace because this is in this collection as well, because the collection was created in 2021. The collection is called
so it's
Magnifica.
relatively new. Yeah.
Yes, it's relatively new, and reportedly is the most expensive collection in the brand's history. So when I'm thinking what Bulgari had created by then, and this collection was the most expensive one, I'm just wow. And it's a collection that consists of 122 high jewelry masterpieces with impressive carat weight, and we're looking at a necklace that features 62.02 Zambian emerald pear-shaped cabochon, 7 emerald beads of 64.03 total carat weight, bathtub emeralds 204, and diamonds. And it's hugely costly necklace. So bold, colorful, timeless, and very expensive.
Of course. But for some people who are listening, I mean, how long would something like this, now this is me asking you from your maker's hat position, I mean, how long would something like that take to make? Because obviously assuming once you have sourced all the gemstones, because you'd also be looking for uniformity, you know, in the making of it, because again, I'm assuming that, I mean, I'll allow you to explain,
hundreds of hours of work on a piece. And yes, depending on what moment we count, but if we don't count the research and the sourcing of the stones, it's because otherwise it would be definitely much longer. But if we count it from the day that we start working on a piece in terms of manufacturing it, it's definitely hundreds of hours, hundreds of days. So depending on the jewel, it's really impressive, and I wish I had that talent.
Yeah. So we are now in our final, we're taking it all in, we're getting ready to land, and we are back to where your high jewelry journey began and closed. Well, the Place Vendome part of your high jewelry journey, because obviously you still continue to consult. So we're in the House of Dior. So I'll allow you to start off. This piece feels like it's a week after Halloween
exactly perfect timing, isn't it?
Exactly.
So yes, back to Dior, and Dior is relatively new in high jewelry world. The creative director of Dior, Victoire de Castellane, started collaboration with Dior after being asked by the chairman of Dior of LVMH if she was interested in collaboration and creating a fine jewelry, high jewelry department, and she agreed. So this happened in 1999, and
so this is, wow.
So it's quite recent, yes.
Yeah.
And since the very first collection she created, Incroyable Merveilleuse, which was absolutely groundbreaking, and it shook the foundation of Place Vendome. She continues surprising every single time when she launches her new jewel. So it's quite remarkable. And we are looking at one of her earliest collections, which was created in 2009, Les Reines et les Rois. So queens and kings.
Yes.
So yeah, it's Victoire de Castellane. It's her. It's totally her. We're looking at something that it's a bit. Somebody may think morbid, intriguing, very opulent, big, huge volumes. She's very much into an extreme, so volumes. I love myself the glyptic art, so I couldn't not mention this piece because I love the way the old skulls are carved in gems. 10 royal couples. Every couple is called is made in gemstone and in scallop shape. Baroque, brilliant, decorative style. 10 queen rings and 10 king pendants. And what's very interesting, and I always found it very amusing when it comes to Dior, that there are always these names that are play of words. So
yeah, so like there's always a pun within the title.
Totally.
Yes.
Like they were having fun naming the collections and the pieces. So, for example, we are looking at the jewel that is carved in sugilite, and the title of the king, because it's a king, it's Roi de Sugili. So je will be the Sugili king, and the same when it comes to Roi de Rutili.
Oh wow! So we've got our Rutili court. I love it. I love it. So each king is like from this amazing gemstone kingdom, and
totally.
So, that's and it's interesting because you were saying some people might say it was very morbid, but I also think it's almost very gothic and when you sort of think because of Dior being both being a jewelry house as well as an apparel house, that was something that was very much going on in their apparel collections as well. Sort of flirting with our mortality, shall we say?
Yeah, very interesting. So we're moving on to Dior tie and dye, and once again we're playing with words in here.
Yeah,
because
Dior.
Tie and Dior, yes, exactly. Thank you. Because I've spoiled the surprise. So tie and Dior is it's a name that and the collection as well, as we can see right now, is it's a collection that has been it was launched in 2020, and Victoire de Castellane very often uses the codes of the house as a starting point of her collections, and in that case is tie and dye of a fabric. So when we are looking at this set of earrings, a beautiful set of earrings, we immediately recognize the cluster of gemstone resembles a lot that
the intense hue in the fabric, and then you've got the space, the white, which is always the
white
space
diamonds
where the dye didn't actually catch.
Yes, exactly. So those stains that are created by this technique, they're transferred into the jewelry language in a way. And yes, we were looking at tie and Dior, or tie and dye interpretation in jewelry. And beautiful gemstones. There are Colombian emeralds. There are blue and pink sapphires, Savoyards, Paraibas, but also beautiful pearls. And it actually has been the first time Victoire de Castellane has used pearls in her high jewelry collection. So 2 beautiful pistachio pearls, and these earrings are unique pieces of high jewelry, Dior.
Yeah, extraordinary.
So very
Very,
colorful. Yeah,
very
colorful
pretty.
palette. Actually, also it's worth mentioning that this collection is very different from previous collections of Victoire de Castellane, which usually are very narrative, very emotional, but it's a bit more abstract. And what I love about this pair of earrings, and it's quite significant also, it's the fact that they are asymmetric, and it's also very recognizable as a work of Victoire de Castellane, because she loves asymmetry and she often uses it in her
So
work.
we are now at our final piece.
So the final piece of
oh my goodness.
Yes, so I think it's probably my favorite piece in your high jewelry world. Yes.
Oh wow, this is your favorite. So this is the one. This is the one where Monsieur Blanchet should be paying attention as we're watching.
Of course, yes. So she knows that already. He knows that already. He knows that already better.
So this is stunning. So tell us a little bit about the Rose Futuriste.
Yes, this is a very interesting piece because it's quite recent. So it's a part of a collection that was launched in 2021, and the collection's name is Dior Rose, and it has 5 chapters. There's Rose Vitrail, Rose Mantique, Rose Futuriste, as this one in here, Couture Abstrait, Rose Dior, and Couture. So we're looking at the Rose Futuriste. And the idea was to create a rose without necessarily it looking like a rose. So this Rose Futuriste is a rose.
Abstract.
Yes, it's very abstract. Is pixelized, as we can see. We can see the setting of diamonds is very interesting because actually they're on different heights, so it's very 3D effect, which hopefully we see on the video that is joined on the slide, and it's very typical, if I may say that, for Victoire de Castellane, because she always includes these, as we call them at Dior, egoist details. So the details that are seen by the wearer and they are known by the wearer, but not necessarily by people who are with the wearer. So as we can spot the very interesting detail on the claws of the ring holding the opal. They're lacquered. There is a blue lacquer used on them.
Yes, you can see it.
And it's very interesting because usually we don't notice something like this. We don't see something like this in high jewelry, nor hardly ever in jewelry too. But also there is lacquer that has been used on the shank, and this is the famous egoistic details, which is known only to the wearer. So
it's interesting because I'd love to ask you a little bit more about the opal, because it's again it's very indicative of Victoire always pushing the envelope out, because opals, for a moment, they weren't really, seen in high jewelry. People often said, they crack easily. They don't have that stability of, the big 3, the sapphires, the emeralds, and the diamond and the rubies. So it's interesting that, although emeralds are also soft, but I want to ask you a little bit about, opals and why they came out of favor, what your thoughts are of why, she chose to go that route. Yes.
Well, actually, the answer is very simple in terms of Victoire's taste. She loves opals. She always has, she claims. So she decided when she joined Dior and created Dior Jewelry to include opals in her collections, which was quite a surprise for the Place Vendome and high jewelry world, because that wasn't the gem that was used at the time in high jewelry. It wasn't considered as I'm not sure.
Well, it's that thing of, if it's not in vogue, so people think,
Yes,
why
not
are
in
you using
vogue.
that?
Of
Yes,
course,
why are you
yes.
using that? Exactly.
So she loved opals so much that she started using them in her collections, and she's considered as the precursor once again, because now we can we see opals in plenty of pieces, and they have become more and more popular, if I may say, and people are not scared of using opals anymore, even though they had this bad publicity as being either too delicate. They're certainly very difficult to work with because, first of all, yes, their hardness is not that high, and as they contain lots of water, they need to be very taken care of when setting on jewels. So I imagine it must be a nightmare for the craftsmen to
yes, I mean,
to set them on jewels.
Totally.
But they're such beautiful stones that they just cannot be missed in the high jewelry world. I can't imagine myself high jewelry world without opals. Opals are just
they're stunning.
Stunning. They're hypnotic, totally. So yes, for a while there was this belief of opals bringing bad luck.
Yes, I was going to say that too. So they all, I mean, they've had pretty miserable press, really, between the.
Totally. But fortunately for us, it didn't perdure long because now they're back and we can enjoy wearing them.
Yeah.
And please, ladies, wear them because opals are one of the most beautiful stones in the world, and there is no possible excuse for not wearing opals. I highly recommend wearing opals.
And I also think, again, sort of, tying in with what you just said, Helena, is that the idea of, what she has done, because Dior as a high jewelry house has only been going for, what's that would be 20, my maths is terrible, 23 years.
Yeah, slightly more than 20 years.
Yes, and yet we have, she's taken a classic Christian Dior and obviously his sister, Catherine, who he was very close to, and their garden was everything.
Yes.
And the rose was very much a feature in the house codes.
Yes,
and so,
it was Mr. Dior's favorite flower. So when we think of Mr. Dior and his hobbies and his passions, rose is there. So he was always he would spend his time in his garden and he would relax over there. So he loved roses, and rose is very much linked to Dior's DNA. So there is no Dior without rose, nor high jewelry Dior without rose.
Yes, and again as well, it's an enduring even beyond the four houses we've had the chance to speak about today. I mean, floral motifs is something that's very, very popular across the Place Vendome. I mean, there are other houses that we won't necessarily mention that are definitely known for their flowers and using flowers. But I mean, before, as we close out, I want to ask you, what do you think, because obviously now you're working as a consultant, and what do you see as the current trends within the high jewelry sector? What's the mood? Obviously, the world is going through a crazy flux. How's that being reflected in the kind of pieces being produced and even the way they're being produced?
This is a very good question. And yes, things have been changing. At least I have noticed that some things have been changing. And I think that, first of all, new high jewelry artists and brands have appeared, and they're being very appreciated by the high jewelry clients. So there is this openness that has been created. New materials, once again, we've seen today, very interesting use of new materials, new techniques as well, which are very surprising and unexpected, and they raise lots of curiosity. And thanks to them, the jewels become very unique. There is still this need for creating arts, because these pieces are pieces of art to me, at least I see them
Oh,
as,
no. I think anyone watching, because it goes, I mean, like I said, if anything, the takeaway is this session has been for anyone who's watched is that high jewelry and fine jewelry are two different, you can't really compare the two. It is definitely art once you get into this sector, for sure.
Yes. So they're very much linked with art world, and for example, when you talk about new techniques, so there are new ways of setting stones, pearls that are carved, new materials, so titanium, for example. Pearls are more and more popular, because before they had this little while when they weren't, well, that they were considered as conservative and a bit boring for certain people. Now they're back. Pearls are very much appreciated, because we can, that the artists who create amazing things with pearls, and that they are not at all boring, everything except boring. And as I think that as younger people are more and more exposed, or they have been exposed to various high jewelry brands, probably thanks to that, their tastes has become more eclectic. So they have so many beautiful examples of this art within their reach, or in front of them, that they can, basically they're being bombarded with all those beautiful images, and they know what's beautiful, what's best, what's very highly appreciated in terms of aesthetics. So I think it opens up a lot, and it creates new potential, creates new clientele for high jewelry business. So I think it's a very good movement.
No, definitely. And I think also what you spoke about earlier, which brings us back to, what you were saying, when people's misconceptions of the kind of high jewelry client, or a collector, or whichever term you want to use, is they have evolved. So maybe when Mr. Bulgari was first working, there might have been a certain sort of milieu of person in Rome who could both afford and come to Bulgari. Now we have all sorts of people. We have people who made their money in the entertainment industry. It's not just patrician, historic, or wife of an industrialist. It's a whole crowd, and how they thus choose to wear, and just even how they engage with aesthetics will bring about also an innovation. Because I'm sure the likes of Claire and Cloud, they probably sort of observing who's coming in, and that in itself also feeds the imagination. You think, oh, that's an interesting way
absolutely.
they're wearing that, or
I
that's
totally agree.
maybe I need to think. Oh, that's curious, or they seem to layer it. Because certainly here I am here in Nigeria, people are very serious about the jewelry, and those who are interested in high jewelry, I think, have got a much more maximalist. I mean, that's a bit of. I mean, I'm trying to be careful not to make too many generalizations, but certainly when they're looking at the Place Vendome or branded jewelry houses, they're definitely wanting to go for sort of the more audacious pieces. But then when you see them teamed with a lot of the traditional fabrics or our traditional attire, it's a complete explosion that's very different to, say, a black tie gala in the south of France. So, the same piece will just now be reimagined anew, and it's it would be interesting seeing how it's worn.
Yeah, I totally agree, 100%. Yes, and I think that's why I consider myself so lucky and so grateful for my journey by now, because I had the chance to meet so many people from different cultures, with different tastes, different way of perceiving things, and I've learned enormously from my clients as well, and from my colleagues. And I think this is in addition to be able to handle these beautiful pieces, to be able to spend time and learn from beautiful people as well. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Helena, that's been a really wonderful journey. I'm sure everyone has enjoyed this, you transporting us to the Place Vendome via your 12 beautiful pieces that you have shared with us. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. If I just may mention a little thank you for people who basically the credits for the photos I used.
And if you're not following Helena already, you must follow her Instagram because she's got the inside scoop on high jewelry. Am I allowed to plug you?
Yes, of course, please do.
So Helena_gems. That's where you need to head to. That's where I head to dream with my morning coffee.
It's Helena.gems. Yes, Helena.gems. Yes,
exactly.
Yes,
so
Helena.gems. Yes,
so
it will.
please.
I will be happy to have you in my account.
But I'll allow you to give the credits to those who kindly
Yes, thank you so much because it's highly appreciated. So thank you very much, Caterina Perez, my dear friend, and Elena Pena. Thank you so much, Lucia Silvestri, Giampi Della Croce. Thank you, Jewelry Masterpiece. Thank you, Curious Kyoto, Esprit Joaillerie, Realm of Jewelry, Le Grand Duc Stéphane, and Paulinas Martin, Marie, Claire Arabia, and Asia Mode for all those wonderful photos I could use when speaking about the high jewelry pieces. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Helena. Thank you so much. And I'm sure everyone at New York City Jewelry Week, thank you for sharing your amazing knowledge. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mazzi. It was a pleasure having this wonderful conversation with you.
Okay.